Okay, so today we will see what is lambda function and built-in functions also we will see. If time permits, I will also start exception handling. Okay, now let's see. So lambda function is a anonymous function, which means it is also a function, but it will not have any name, no name to it, right? And second one is it can take any arguments. So we pass argument to the function, right? So it can take any number of arguments, but only one expression. When I say expression, nothing but statements we write inside a function, right? That is what expression. Now let's define one small one, which we already seen, right? Addition a comma b. Then what we do? We return a plus b. This is what our function is doing. So we can call our function with 5 comma 6. If we print, we get the result. Sorry, we got like that. So now the rule, it can take any number of arguments, but only one expression. So this only one expression lambda function can return. Let's say you have multiple, right? A equal to a plus 10, which means it has multiple expressions. When you want to convert this into lambda, it cannot do multiple things. It can do only one thing. That is the rule. So now let's convert this into lambda function. The syntax is lambda, that is lambda keyword. Then there is no name. That is what anonymous function it says, right? There is no name to lambda function. After that, your whatever parameters, that is also called arguments. Then your colon. Then what is the expression? It does return automatically. Okay, the return, whatever this is there, this is returned automatically. You don't need to mention the return. That is the reason it is saying only one expression is allowed. So whatever expression you are keeping, the result is automatically returned from this lambda. Okay, now, so we just define the lambda, but how do we use it, right? Let's keep some name. Okay, lambda function. I just define the lambda function to a variable, and let me just now call the lambda function. So my lambda is now taking 2, right? A comma b. So I am passing 5 comma 6. What my lambda is returning? It's an addition of these two numbers. So ideally we should get same in both functions. See 11, 11. That is how lambda works. Lambda keyword, the number of arguments, and one expression. Lambda is an interview concept, they will ask. So where it is used, okay, we have already functions concept, and why do we want to use the lambda? What is the use, right? There will be a certain use cases where you just want to use a function one time. Okay, you just want to use it one time and leave it. And when you do that, right, it just used. There is no memory allocated for that, like this function. And it's not that somebody can come and enhance your function or change something in your function. Especially in the pandas world, right? Lambda is very used. So pandas will come up with some default functions, but sometimes your requirement need beyond the existing functions. So those cases you can write your own small lambda function and apply it. That I'll be showing in pandas classes as well. So this is how lambda works. Okay, now let's see some examples how lambda is used. Um, let's see our shopping list. Okay, now I have same thing, right? Onion. Or let's do this. We will keep name and age as a one list. I'm just keeping some random numbers. Okay, this is another list. Then I'm keeping one more like this. Okay. Now our requirement is to sort the shopping by the age. I want to sort by the age. Let's say ascending order. Forget about which order. Okay, let's keep ascending order. Now, if we use our sorted function, remember, right? What happens? Let's see the output. We see how we got the same thing. How the sorted will do, right? It sorts based on this entire item. That is the reason you are getting this way. Right? Let me keep this here and execute again. I think it should start. Yeah, see now it is sorted. A, it is starting, then G, then N, right? Now our requirement to sort by the second value. How can we do? Sorted is having a parameter called key. Okay. We can tell to sorted, you sort by which value. Okay. When it is a list inside a list, right? We can actually tell sorted method, you sort by particular value, like second item in each list. Now our key is by default getting this. Okay, so now how can I tell to sorted method that you consider only 56? We can tell,
Indexing
uh, but how do you tell
zero.
using the index? I don't have what do you call a variable which is having this value, right? I don't have something like sorry, I of 1. I don't have something like that because I is not defined, right? It is giving error. So how do I tell now sorted? That is where this lambda will help us. Lambda. Now let's say I am passing I. So what I will get? I is this. Then what we want to return? I of 1. So now this in the key, I have a function. When first value comes, I will get that value and I am returning only second value. That way I am telling to my sorted method, okay, you sort by the second value. Now let's see the output. Let me keep before one as it is. You see now it's sorted by the second value. That is how lambda will help. And same thing, let's say we have dictionary with these things.
Via
Um,
small query.
mhm.
కన్‌ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యాను. ఫస్ట్ వాల్యూ ఇప్పుడు అబ్దుల్ కలాం, తర్వాత గాంధీ ఎందుకొచ్చింది? నెహ్రూ కదా మీరిచ్చింది.
ఇది అంటున్నారా?
లిస్టు లిస్ట్ ఎలానైనా సార్ట్ అయిపోతదనుకో. కరెక్టేనా?
ఇదంటున్నారా మీరు ఫస్ట్ అంటున్నారా?
ఆ! ఆ!
ఇది హోల్ ఐటమ్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది అనమాట. అంటే హోల్
కరెక్ట్.
ఐటమ్ తీసుకొని ఇది ఆల్ఫాబెటికల్ ఆర్డర్లో మీరు చూసినా సరే ఏ తర్వాత జీ వస్తుంది కదా, తర్వాత ఎన్ వస్తుంది కదా.
ఓహ్! ఏజీ
హా, అలా.
ఓకే.
బ్రో
హ్మ్,
సో,
బ్రో
ఇప్పుడు
హ్మ్.
శ్రీరామ్ ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఇప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు ప్రింట్ సెకండ్ లైన్.
హ్మ్.
సెకండ్ ఇండెక్స్‌ది తీసుకోమంటున్నారు. మరి
అవును.
సెకండ్ ఇండెక్స్ తీసుకోమన్నప్పుడు గాంధీ ఎందుకొచ్చింది?
మనము వాల్యూతో వెళ్ళాం కదా ఓన్లీ. సో నేనేం చెప్తున్నా
నంబర్స్
అంటే
వెళ్ళాము.
ఆ,
56, 67, 45లో లీస్ట్
అచ్చా!
45.
మీరు సార్టెడ్ యూజ్ చేస్తారు
బిహైండ్ ద
కాబట్టి
ఓకే
సార్టెడ్‌లో సెకండ్ వాల్యూ. ఓకే.
బిహైండ్ ద సీన్ లో ఏం చెప్పానంటే యూ సార్ట్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దీస్ వాల్యూస్ 56, 67, 45 ఇన్ అసెండింగ్ ఆర్డర్. సో 45 విల్ కమ్ ఫస్ట్, అందుకే మనకి ఇది ఫస్ట్ వచ్చింది.
హ్మ్.
నెక్స్ట్ 56, తర్వాత 67. శ్రీరామ్.
క్వశ్చన్ శరత్.
బ్రో
చెప్పు.
ఇప్పుడు
Go ahead.
20th లైన్‌లో గాంధీ 45 ఉంది కదా!
అవును.
దాని పక్కన ఇంకొక లిస్ట్ పెడతావా బ్రో?
ఓకే.
గాంధీ 40 అని పెట్టవా ఒకసారి?
గుడ్ థాట్. మనకి గాంధీ ఫస్ట్ రావాలి.
అంటే అసల
హ్మ్.
45, 40 కూడా సార్ట్ చేస్తుందని అంటే.
చేస్తుంది 40,
ఓకే.
45.
ఇంకోటి శరత్,
చెప్పు.
ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఇన్ కేస్ లిస్ట్లో 3 ఎలిమెంట్స్ పెడితే
ఎన్ని ఎలిమెంట్స్ పెట్టినా డజంట్ మ్యాటర్. మనం దేంతో సార్ట్ చేయమంటున్నాం అనేది మ్యాటర్.
సో డిఫాల్ట్ సార్ట్ చేసినప్పుడు నాకు ఏం రిజల్ట్ నేను 3 ఎలిమెంట్స్ పెట్టి
ఎన్ని చేయొచ్చు.
2 లిస్టులు పెట్టాను.
ఓకే.
సెకండ్ది ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ది డిఫాల్ట్ సార్టెడ్ మెకానిజం నాకు అది వర్క్, నాకు అది యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వచ్చింది అవుట్పుట్.
అంటే మీరు ఆల్రెడీ సార్టింగ్ ఆర్డర్లో ఇచ్చారేమో.
లేదు, నేను ఏ తర్వాత నాకు ఇది తీసుకుంది,
ఓకే.
ఏఎంజీ ఉంటే నాకు ఎన్ సెకండ్ తీసుకుంది.
ఒకసారి స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేయరా మీరు?
చేంజ్ చేసేసాను ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ.
అవునా? ఓకే. ఓకే. సరే మీరు చెప్పండి. మీరు ఎలా డిఫైన్ చేస్తారో చెప్పండి. సేమ్
ఓకే,
అదే నేను.
ఓకే. సో షాపింగ్లో
ఓకే. సంథింగ్ ఏదో ఒకటి అనుకోండి. చెప్పండి.
ఇది గోల్డ్, ఓకే, యాపిల్,
ఓకే.
యాపిల్, మ్యాంగో, ఆరెంజ్ పెట్టండి దీంట్లో.
ఓకే.
ఇంకో
మీరు
లిస్ట్లో వచ్చేసి సెకండ్ లిస్ట్లో
హ్మ్.
దీంట్లోనే
ఓకే.
షాపింగ్ కార్ట్లో టూ మెయిన్ లిస్టులు తీసుకొని ఈ సిరీస్లో 3 ఎలిమెంట్స్ పెట్టుకున్నాను.
ఓకే. నెక్స్ట్ సెకండ్ ఐటమ్.
ఇక్కడ క్యారెట్, టమాటో, చిల్లీ పెట్టేయండి.
ఓకే.
సో ఏబీని సార్ట్ చేయండి ఇప్పుడు. ప్రింట్ సార్టెడ్ ఏబీ.
ఇంతే కదా? ఓకే.
సో ఇది ఫస్ట్ లేకుంటే ఫస్ట్ దాంట్లో
హ్మ్.
యాపిల్ బదులు ఏదన్నా పెట్టండి, డీతో స్టార్ట్ అయ్యేది, డ్రాగన్ ఏదో పెట్టండి, డ్రాగన్ ఫ్రూట్ ఏదో.
ఓకే.
ఇప్పుడు చేయండి.
మీరు ఇన్సైడ్ లిస్ట్ సార్ట్ అవ్వాలని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నారా?
నేను ఈ బిట్వీన్ ద టూ లిస్ట్ బిట్వీన్ లో డ్రాగన్, క్యారెట్ కదా, ఫస్ట్ క్యారెట్ రావాలని ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను.
వచ్చింది కదా?
వచ్చింది కదా నాకు. ఓకే, సంథింగ్ ఏదో కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యానా ఏంటో మరి. ఫైన్. ఓకే, ఇగ్నోర్. ఇట్స్ వర్కింగ్ యాజ్ ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్.
ఓకే.
ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి అక్కడ లాంబ్డా ఐ డిఫైన్ చేస్తారు కదా, అదొక సంథింగ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారు.
ఓకే. సో మనం when we just give sorted, right, the key is, or each item is the key, it goes by the each item. Okay, let's take this only. Each item is one key, so it takes the entire list as one value, then sort in the ascending order. So A is coming first, right? Remaining values you can ignore because A is only the starting one. Then here G, when G is same, then it goes to the second element, right? Here, so 40 is the minimum one, then 45, then Nehru. So it actually goes by the entire element when we are sorting, right? But when we want to sort with a single item, right? Either 40, 41, 67, 56, right? How can we tell to sorted function that you sort only by this value through the lambda. So here what lambda is getting, we are passing this item as I here, right? So then what lambda is returning? Lambda is returning index 1, that is 56. So to the key, I am passing only 56. That way we are telling sorted function, okay, you take only 56 value for sorting. My actual value will not change. Only for sorting mechanism, you consider only 56 value. This is what happens in the behind scene. For sorted, only these values are passed for sort keys. This is what happened in the behind scene. Sorted got all these values. So now it sorts based on these values. So first 40, right? Then this item will come in the beginning. Next 45, next 56, next 67. It just
Okay.
uses this value for the sorting mechanism.
ఓకే ఓకే ఐ మీన్ లైక్ ఇప్పుడు జస్ట్ మీరు సార్టెడ్ తీసేసి జస్ట్ ప్రింట్ చేస్తే ల్యాండా తోటి మనకు కీ వాల్యూస్ అన్ని ప్రింట్ అవుతాయి.
మనం యాక్చువల్గా ఓకే, so I'll just this lambda function anonymous kada. If we want to use, we have to define first. Okay, now I'm just defining this lf. Now to lf I can pass shopping. Now what happens? Any guesses? So sorry?
I thought it should seem sort by the second element, which is
నాట్
key.
No, we are not sorting anything, right? We are just using the lambda function this for this list. We are not
we just
sorting.
list out the key values only the
Return
Okay.
the second value.
It just written this
So
Nehru one
just
because here I is getting as entire list. If you
Okay.
do that in the I entire list, what is the second item? Is Nehru, right?
Yeah.
That is what we get.
Okay.
And if you want to actually loop through it, right? Then for I in shopping, now what you can do? Sorry, this has to be before. Now instead of shopping, you pass I here. So now what we are doing? We are iterating through shopping. Then again, each item we are passing to lambda. So this case, what happens? Each item will go as I to lambda. Then from that each item you get index 1. That is what value we get 56. This is what happens in the sorted also. You see now 56, 67, 45, 40. When we give this function here, sorted actually takes each item, right? So each item goes through the lambda. Get the key value.
బ్రో ఫర్ లుక్ ముందు ఇంకొకటి చెప్పావు కదా, ప్రింట్ షాపింగ్ అని చెప్పేసి.
ఇదా 26 లైన్ నెంబరా? ఓకే 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 ఇంతకు ముందు ఒకటి పెట్టిన
అదొకసారి పెట్టు. అదొకసారి
print okay, lf should come down, lf of shopping.
ఓకే 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 షాపింగ్.
సో ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే మనం ఎంటైర్ షాపింగ్ని లాంబ్డాకి పంపిస్తున్నాం, అంటే ఎంటైర్ షాపింగ్ ఐ అవుతుంది. సో ఐ నుంచి ఇండెక్స్ 1 తీసుకుంటున్నాం మనం. సో ఐలో ఇండెక్స్ 1 ఏంటి? ఇది కదా,
అర్థమైంది. బట్ పైన సార్టెడ్ లో కూడా ఎంటైర్ షాపింగ్ నే కదా పంపించాం.
ఇక్కడ మనము సార్టెడ్ ఫంక్షన్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం. సో సార్టెడ్ ఫంక్షన్ ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుందంటే ఇట్ ఇటరేట్ త్రూ ఆల్ ద ఐటమ్స్ హియర్. ద ఫర్ లూప్ అనేది బిహైండ్ ద సీన్ వర్క్ అవుతుంది. ఇట్ ఈస్ డూయింగ్ ఫర్ లూప్ బిహైండ్ ద సీన్. ఈచ్ ఐటమ్ ని కీకి పాస్ చేస్తుంది.
ఓకే.
See, by default this one, right? Here by default it is, let's say there is no I, but I'm just using as reference. This I is nothing but each item in the behind scene. It uses each item, right, as a key to sort it. So now we are manipulating that key using the lambda.
అంటే ఇక్కడ సార్టెడ్ లో షాపింగ్ అంటే ఎంటైర్ లిస్ట్ ఉండదు. లిస్ట్ లో ఉన్న
ఎంటైర్
ఫస్ట్
లిస్టే ఉంటది, ఎంటైర్ లిస్ట్ ఉంటది. సార్టెడ్ అనేది ఫంక్షన్ కదా, అది ఎలా సార్ట్ చేస్తుంది? ఎవ్రీ వాల్యూ దానికి కావాలి కదా, ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు కంపేర్ ఈచ్ వాల్యూ కదా, అప్పుడే సార్ట్ చేయగలదు. సో ఇట్ లూప్ ఓవర్ ఆల్ ఐటమ్స్. ఒక్కొక్క ఐటమ్ వెళ్తా ఉంటుంది సార్టెడ్ ఫంక్షన్లో. సో
ఓకే
ఆ
ఓకే
ఐటమ్ మాత్రమే మనకి లాంబ్డాకి వస్తుంది, నాట్ ఎంటైర్ షాపింగ్.
ఓకే గాట్ ఇట్.
కూల్. ఓకే, ఇంకా ఎవరికైనా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
ఇది వాడతాం మనం రియల్ టైంలో లాంబ్డా.
అదే నెక్స్ట్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్. ఐ వాజ్ జస్ట్ కమింగ్ దేర్. Okay, now let's say we have our, I think, marks. Let's say this is use case what we have. I'm just giving some marks. Please excuse, I'm just giving random numbers. Let's say 28. Right now, okay, let me change something here. I'm keeping 28. Then I'm keeping some random value here also. Now this is the dictionary we have. Now our requirement is to sort by marks in, let's say, ascending order first. This is the interview question. How do you sort a dictionary using a value? You cannot use sorted. Let's print and see what happens. What it does, we have seen in for loop, right? If you just give dictionary, it means dot keys, right? In the for loop, the same thing happens here. If you just give a dictionary, you are actually passing only keys. That is why it just sorted all the keys. Then how do we actually sort a dictionary, right? There is a way to get items, right, as both into tuple. So if you do the items, you get as a tuple and it is sorted order. See, same sorted order we got. If you want to sort by a key, you can use dot items. Automatically it takes both, right? Obviously it goes by key first, then it goes by the value. And you cannot have a duplicate keys, right, in a dictionary. So which ultimately happens on a key only. That way you are achieving, but it is still not a dictionary, right? What you can do is you can actually use a dict constructor to get a dictionary output. You know, you see you got a sorted dictionary by key. Sorted using key. This is good. This they will not ask in interviews. What they ask is how do you sort by value. Now the same thing, we have to use sorted function, right? Let's not use dictionary for now. Now here, right, what is it we are passing? We want to pass same items, right? Because we need to have both, because we need to somehow get the value to sort. If you just use mark, it is only key. So we have to use marks dot items. Now what is the key we should give? We should tell sorted function use the value, right? So here when we convert it to items, it comes as a tuple, right? It comes as a tuple like this one, right? It comes as a tuple when we use items. Now this is coming as one item. So from this item, how do I get 98? lambda I have 1. The same way. Now I got 2. I want to use 98 as a sort key. This is where I use lambda. I have 1. Now let's see what happens. Now you see, we got the sorted data by marks, 36, 45, 56, 78, 98. Now if we want this as a dictionary, right, we just have to use DICT constructor. That is all we need to do. Now we got the dictionary in a ascending order. If you want to have a descending order, what we need to do? Comma, reverse. Where is the reverse? It is inside our sorted, right? Reverse equal to true. Let me keep both. You see, this is a descending order. Got it?
ఎస్ మీరు మొన్న ఇచ్చారు కదా టాస్క్, దానికి పర్ఫెక్ట్ యూజ్ అవుతుందండి
Yes.
స్టూడెంట్.
If you want top 10 students, right? This is very useful. You can just get all the marks on a dictionary and whatever the total marks is there, right? That index you have to use in the key.
ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అండి, ఇప్పుడు మార్క్స్ అనేది డిక్షనరీ కదా,
అవును.
సో ఇప్పుడు ఇంతకుముందు షాపింగ్ అనేది ఒక అది ఒక లిస్ట్, దాన్ని దాన్ని డైరెక్ట్ కాల్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ కూడా మార్క్స్ డాట్ ఐటమ్స్ వై నాట్ డైరెక్ట్ మార్క్స్ అని కాకుండా
అదే మార్క్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇట్ టేక్స్ ఓన్లీ కీస్. ఫర్ లూప్లో కూడా చూసాం కదా, when we use only marks, it just takes only keys.
Okay.
That is how dictionary works in the iteration. See, only keys.
Okay, got it.
It is same as marks dot keys. Okay, and you can use lambdas inside a function if you want, and as I said, pandas we use, right? We use it in Spark also. So yeah, so basic thumb rule is, if you want some little function to be used and it's just a one-time use, just go with the lambda. That's all. Okay, now let's see some building blocks.
Sorted key and like sorted maybe the reverse order key reverse equal to true అని పెట్టారు కదా. అసలు అది ఎట్లా గుర్తుంటుంది మీకు? నేను అన్సార్టెడ్ అని పెట్టాను రివర్స్ చేయాలంటే.
బేసికల్ గా గుర్తయితే ఉండదు, మనం వాడుతుంటే గుర్తుంటది. ఇప్పుడు నేను కామా పెట్టా కదా, ఇక్కడ కామా పెట్టి ఏదైనా టైప్ చేస్తే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా వస్తాయి అనమాట.
ఐ మీన్ ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ అక్కడ కామా పెట్టాక చేయాలని కూడా అవసరం లేదు.
కామా అంటే సేమ్ ఫంక్షన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ కదా. సి ఫంక్షన్ కి మనం ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ పాస్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా. దిస్ ఈజ్ పొజిషనల్.
సార్టెడ్ లాగా అన్సార్టెడ్ అనే ఫంక్షన్ లేదు కదా మనకి. లేదు. సార్టెడ్ లోపనే వాళ్ళు ఒక పారామీటర్ ఇచ్చారనమాట, రివర్స్ ఈక్వల్ టు అనేది. సో బై డిఫాల్ట్ దానికి ఏముంటుంది, ఫాల్స్ ఉంటుంది. మనం కావాలంటే అప్పుడు దాన్ని ఓవర్ రైట్ చేయాలి కదా. మనం చూసాం కదా కీవర్డ్ పారామీటర్స్లో ఎలా ఓవర్ రైట్ చేస్తామని. మనం పాస్ చేస్తే ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ వాల్యూ ఓవర్ రైట్ అయిపోతుంది, డిఫాల్ట్ వాల్యూ. Okay.
Now let's see some built-in functions. We have seen already some built-in functions, such as sorted is a built-in function. We have seen length, type, id, right? So like that we have few more built-in functions which are really helpful. So we will cover the important ones because there are many and we don't need to know everything. Okay, what is sum? If you pass a multiple list of values, it need not to be a list, it can be a tuple. Okay, numbers equal to, let's say 1 2 3 4 5, right? If you just pass that numbers to this sum function, it will give you the sum. You see, we got 15. Let me comment these things. It need not to be a list. You can also give a tuple. Okay, it does the same thing. Basically, if you give whatever list of values, it applies the addition. So now, so what happens now if I just pass this? What it does? I'm just using names here. Int and string. Sum works only for the integers and decimals. You can also give decimals. Let's say here 1.5, 2.6, right? 3.7. It works for the decimal numbers. We got 16.8. But for the names, the sum is not allowed. But you can use plus as a concatenation, but you cannot use sum for the strings. Even this can be asked because it's look tricky, right? When plus is allowed, why sum is not allowed? It is about sum.
Basically, some inbuilt function works for a
No, integers, numbers.
integers and
Yeah,
decimals.
yeah. It will just give you the sum of all those numbers. Same way
There
we
should be
have
some functions where strings are
నంబర్స్ ప్లేస్ లో వాల్యూస్ ఇస్తే పని చేయదు కదా సమ్ నాట్
స్ట్రింగ్స్
బేసిక్
ఉంటే పని చేయదు. అదే చూసాం కదా మనం, స్ట్రింగ్స్ ఉంటే పని చేయదు.
ప్రింట్ సమ్ 1, 2 in the number
Sum,
space లో
see, okay, good question. 1, 2. That is what you are telling, right? 1, 2, 3. See now here, how many arguments I am passing to sum? I am passing only one argument, right? In numbers is a tuple. This tuple is one object, so I am passing one argument here. So when you send like this, right, inside sum 1, 2, 3, you are basically passing three arguments. It should be only one argument. You can make it as a tuple or you can make it as a list. Then you are actually passing one argument to the sum. This is entire thing is one argument. It will work. Understand this argument concept, very important. I am sending now only one object with tuple of three numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3. That is what we get output here.
బ్రో ఒకసారి రిపీట్ చేయవా?
Okay. Sum takes only one argument. It should be a iterable thing like this. It should be a list, it should be a tuple. Right? So when you don't give braces, right? What happened? Sum is actually getting three arguments, each as an integer. First one is 1 as an integer, second one is 2 as an integer. Sum actually takes only one argument. So you have to convert this to a tuple or list. Then your sum is getting only one argument. That is a tuple. Got it?
యా యా బట్
Okay.
ఇక్కడ మల్టీ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ వచ్చినాయి కాబట్టి
అది వర్క్ అవ్వదు. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎక్స్పెక్టింగ్ ఓన్లీ వన్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్. సో వెన్ మనం మన ఫంక్షన్ డిఫైన్ చేసినప్పుడు వన్ పొజిషన్ పారామీటర్ ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము, బట్ త్రీ పాస్ చేస్తే వర్క్ అవ్వదు కదా. ద సేమ్ వే, ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ we defining this sum function, Python itself they defined this function. Same way min, if you are passing like numbers like this, if you want to get a min, you can get the min. Okay, min of the number, min. Same way we have max also. If you want to get minimum number, maximum number, out of numbers you are passing. You see 1.5 is the minimum number, and then 5 is the max number you got. Then round. Okay, this is very important one. So during calculations we have seen, right? Let's say what I'm doing. I'm just doing 5 by 3. Okay. So how much I get? I get 1.66666 like this, right? So nobody likes it in real time. We want to round to 2 decimals or 1 decimal or how many ever decimals you want. That is where this round function will help. So what you have to do, you have to round it, okay? And round gets two things, okay? Let me keep this outside for clarity for now. Output. I'm just calculating output outside, okay? Now I want to round the output variable. That is what I am passing to round. Again, round is getting one positional parameter that we are already passing. There are many keyword parameters to the round, right? So as you can see here, right, it is passing. It is telling you how many digits you want in a decimal. So when we are not passing, it is by default 0. Let me print. Where is it? Round 2. This is what we got. It has rounded to 2. 1.67, right? After 1.5, whatever value we get, it will be rounded to next integer, right? That is so it rounded to 2. Now let's say I want to round it to some decimals. How many decimals, right? N digits is the next parameter. Okay. By default it is 0. That is what happened when we did not pass anything. Now I want to make it execute 1.67 rounded to 2 decimals. Okay. Even if you don't give this parameter also, that is fine, right? Because with the order it will go. With the order, second parameter goes to n digits by default. So even if you don't pass that n digits, right, it still goes there only. 1.67. You can make it 4 if you want. That is how we round the value. So the rounding is used a lot because we do calculations a lot, right? So we mostly round it to 2 decimals. That is how round is useful. By default, 0 decimals. Okay. Next, we have already seen zip, right? In one class, I think, in dictionary somewhere. So if you have two list, I think this we have seen. Sorry, A, B, C, and second list is having, let's say, num. This is just having the values 1, 2. I think we have seen how to create a dictionary out of two lists. That is where we have seen this, right? So zip of names comma num. So what it does, it takes first item from first list, second item from second list, then make a one tuple. Like that, it will make a list of tuples. So if you just print, you will not be able to see the output because it will be a zip object. So to see that, we have to convert it to list again or tuple again. You can convert it to tuple also. Now you see how we got the list of tuples. And it's not limited to two lists, okay? You can have one more. Let's say num2, I'm just using 10, 20, 30. Inside the zip, I use num2. So it just takes each item from one list and make that as a tuple. That is what zip does. So zip we already used, right? How to make a dictionary using two list. Print dict zip of names comma num. For dictionary, it takes only two things, right? If you are passing three things, it cannot be converted to dictionary. So it should be only two. This is how we convert it to a dictionary. That is about zip. Next, map. Map is an important one. Again, it can be asked in interviews. So what map does? Um, okay, now let's say I have numbers num. Let me define a function. Okay, square value. So what I'm doing, I'm just defining this function. I'm just squaring the value. Okay, this is what my function is doing, and I have my list of values here, right? These are the values, I already have it, num equal to. So now what I need to do, I want to do the square for each value inside this num. So how we can do usually, right? Output equal to empty list, then for loop for I in num. Then what we can do, let's say out equal to, then I should call this function, then pass the I value, then out, output that append of out. So finally I can print it outside. Then I get all the square numbers. So what we are doing, we are iterating through this num. For each value we are calling this function, we get the square value. That square value we are adding into our output list. See, we got 149. So the map does exactly the same thing. Okay, so when you do map, what is the function name? Map, then function, then iterable. First you should give the function name. What is the function you want to execute, and what is that iterable object you want to execute it for? NUM. Num. So now what map does, for each value inside NUM, it calls this function, and whatever output comes, it makes as a list if you convert. Let me just print this and show you. Just comment this one. You just see only map object, like how we have seen zip object, right? To see again, we have to convert it to list or tuple. See, 149, the same thing we got. What were our for loop did, right? The same thing map does. So basically map what does, it takes a function and one iterable object. It can be a list, tuple, or dictionary items. For each value, it executes this function and takes the output. And it takes all the outputs for this iterable and keep them. If you convert it to list, they will be converted to list, tuple, tuple. That is how map works.
Can we call two functions in the map?
No, it's only one. You have to use another map. Next, another important one is filter. Okay. Now let me keep some more values, 4, 5, 6. Now let's say, okay, now I'm defining one more function, is even number. Okay, this is what my function does. So it takes one number. Okay, n remind 2 if this is equal to 0, then that is even number, right? Return true, otherwise return false. Okay, another important thing, right? So here I am keeping this return outside if condition, right? If you remember, if this is outside our if condition, this statement will always be executed, right? Then in that case, when my if condition is satisfied, ideally these two should get executed, right? But in the functions, right, when first return encounter, That's all. The function will stop. It will just return back. That is why even if I don't keep this in else, right? When this condition is satisfied, let me keep the charge. Hello? Hello?
Yes, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
Okay. So
you can.
that is why even if I don't keep this inside else, right? It still works because when this condition is satisfied, it comes to return true and your function stops there. It won't execute this statement. No, okay. Come back to this. Okay, now we have is even number and I have some numbers. Now let's execute map first. Map of is even number, comma, num. Okay, I'm just executing. See now what you got? You got list of true and falses, right? This is what we got. So what filter does, right? If you use filter instead of map, wherever true is there, right? It just gets you those values outside. So for one, what we got? These are the values we had, right? For one, what it we got? We got a false. That means the filter will not take out this value. It will drop because it is giving a false. 2, it has given true. That is why 2 will come in the output. Then 4, then 6. So basically filter does the mapping first, and for whatever value it is true, it will retain only those values and it will drop remaining. Let's see the output. You see we got 246. That is how filter works. Filter just to filter out your existing values based on some function. So this function should be returning true or false. Otherwise your filter cannot return, filter the values. And one more shortcut I wanted to tell right here. Um, we already seen, right? When we convert it to bool, 0, bool of 0 is actually false, right? That we have seen. Bool of 0 or empty dictionary or empty tuple, empty list, everything becomes false, empty string, right? So here, instead of doing all this, what I can do, right? If I just do bool of this, what happens? When it is even number, it is 0, right? It becomes false, right? When it is odd number, it will be 1. So 1 means it is true. But I want to ulta, right? So what I can do, I can just apply not. Shit, that was gone. So before bool, I can just keep not. I just return that. I don't need to put this code. Now you got how this is working. Bool of this. For even number, I get 0. Bool of 0 becomes false. Not false become true. That is how I am returning is even. If it is odd number, this becomes true. Not true become false. That is how I am converting to false. This is also will return the same thing. 246, true or false. That is about filter. So what else is there? Okay, I have two more. Eval. This is also one important thing. Let's say you have some dictionary, but it is coming as a string. Okay. Um, let's keep it as name equal to Sarath, comma age 23. Then I just close. This is a string now, right? If I just do print type of names, this is a string. You see, class is a string. How do I convert this string this to a dictionary now? That is where I can use eval. So what eval does, if you have a recognizable Python code inside the quotes, it will convert that. So for if I just define this outside, right, whatever is there inside the quotes, right, let me assign to variable, otherwise maybe what is this, this is a dictionary, right? So whatever inside the codes, that it will treat as a Python code. That is what evaluate does. So inside my codes, what I have a dictionary. You see curly braces, key value pair, right? Now, okay, let me assign this eval to AB and print type of AB, and I'll also print AB. Here also let me print both. You see, this is a string, first one str, the second one has become dictionary. Not only this, whatever Python code, okay, sometimes, right, you will have a Python code in a string itself, code such as what, let's say a equal to uh, 2, then if we evaluate, right, let's eval code. Okay, now let's try to print a. Syntax error, invalid syntax error. I never tried this before, let me try. Maybe this assignment may not work, but if you have a list or dictionary or tuple, whatever inside, right, you have some 1 2 3 values, and if you evaluate, that actually become a tuple. That is what evaluate does. 1 2 3 tuple. So one last one, reversed. By the way, I don't remember all this, I wrote in a paper. What and all I should explain. Okay, now we have num, right? So if you just use reversed of num, just print, it is just giving a reversed object, convert it to list, then you will see reversed items. Yeah, 6 5 4 3 2 1. This way also you can reverse a list using the reversed function. We have seen that indexing -1 concept, right? But we can also use the built-in function reversed.
Reverse the comma, reverse equal to true అంటే మళ్ళీ సార్ట్ అయితాయా?
This is not sorting, right? This is reversing.
Yeah.
Whatever order we have here, this order will be reversed, that's it. There is no sorting. Let's say here if I have 10 20, right, this is not a sorting list. Whatever order it is having, it will just reverse that, nothing else. 6 5 4, the same as that we use, right, start index and index -1. It is exactly same thing.
Interview question.
Yeah, interview question, yes. Okay, I think we are on top of the hour. There are two things. Okay, quickly print locals. Let me print this. You see what I got in the locals. Uh, any variables I can show. You see here, this shopping is something I defined, right, in the local. Okay, and this is what basically this will return all the variables what we used here inside this. There are some variables with underscores that you can ignore. This underscore file underscore built-ins. The one starting with underscore you can ignore, but remaining you will find. So for example, if I want to see all the variables which I defined so far, right? What I can do for I in locals, I want to ignore this one, right? Starting with this one underscore. Okay. If I, there is a string method, right? Starts with what I have to give underscore. But I want the negation, right? So I should use not. And then print I. So this is how I can get all the local variables. Dictionary changed size during iteration. Okay. During iteration it is changed. Mm, why? Why it is changed?
ఈ లోకల్స్ ఏంటి అసలు?
Local variables basically. Yeah, we don't use in real time అసలు వాడము, but whatever variables we are using, right? Sometimes the requirement will be if one variable is there or not in the program. Suppose let's say if code is variable is there in or not in my program. Okay, if code in locals. Okay, let me just print. It will just give true or false, right? That is suffice. You see, it has given true because we have a variable called code. I am giving something which is not there. Okay, it gives false. That is how locals are used. Sometimes you just want to test whether some variable is there or not in my program.
Okay. In the current executable file.
Yeah,
That's it.
correct, 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 correct. There is one more called globals that is in entire application, not only this program, but all your entire application. So we will see that how we use multiple program, I mean multiple Python files, and how we call one Python file from another file. So all this we will see. There you will be using the globals if you want to check any variable defined in any of the Python modules. It is just as a locals, just that this is for entire your application. That is only the difference. Yeah, I am done with built-in functions, and